Good evening. Hello to everyone watching, everybody in the chat. Good to have you. It's a hot night here at Hoff Manor, and we got a hot show for you. Hope you all have air conditioning where you are. I don't. It would screw up the audio. If you see me sweating, I'm not nervous about doing the show. It is purely because of the heat. But that's okay. I'm willing to, do what I got to do for the show. And we do have a good show tonight. Welcome to Hoff's Public Domain Horrorfest. I'm your host, Hoff Matthews, and this is, of course, a live comedy show and horror movie screening series. We show a horror movie and we break it up with live comedy host segments. Now, this is something that we used to do live in person in Brooklyn, but of course we had to stop doing indoor screenings when COVID-19 hit, and I actually left New York City and came here to my ancestral estate of Hoff Manor to ride out the pandemic here in my haunted mansion. And in theory, we could do in-person screenings again now, I guess, and we're working on it. We might have an exciting announcement to make sometime soon. I can't say anything yet, but in the meantime, we've gotten used to doing the show online. And because we've been doing online live streams, we've been showing, someone remembers the Chinatown screenings. There's an old head in the chat. I love to see it. But because we're online right now, we've been showing exclusively older, classic horror movies which have fallen into the public domain to avoid copyright issues. And because of that, we've been showing a lot of movies from the director Roger Corman, the legendary B-movie kingpin, and we'll be showing another one of his films tonight. Roger Corman, by the way, still around. And since our last show, last month, he actually appeared and did an interview on a competing horror movie live stream show, The Last Drive-In on Shudder. On that show, they screened two movies that he worked on, including the original Little Shop of Horrors from 1960, which we did on this show back in October of last year. So, just want to say to Shudder, first of all, stay out of the public domain, god damn it. You have money for streaming licensing fees. We have to show these movies. Let me have this, please. And also, if you have to show a public domain movie, the image quality on our show is better. I'm just saying. Just to be honest, I'm just saying. Did we have Roger Corman on as a live guest? We did not, so they've got that going for them. I admit that. But when it comes to image quality, I try to do everything I can for you guys. I want you to enjoy the films. I want you to have a good experience. I don't have some souped up PC. I don't have a server farm. Our track record, it's not perfect, but you put our Little Shop of Horrors live stream next to Shudder's. Just saying. Love Shudder. They do a lot of great stuff. Hope they don't hold this against me in any hypothetical future pitch meeting. But we're not showing Little Shop of Horrors tonight. We're showing a different Roger Corman movie from 1961. It's Creature from the Haunted Sea. And this is a film about a group of American gangsters and Cuban soldiers trying to smuggle gold out of Cuba in the wake of the Revolution of 1959. They used the legend of a sea monster as a ruse to cover up their activity, but is there really a monster out in those waters? I don't know. We're going to have to watch the film and find out. And I should warn you up top, this is not a movie that is going to scare you. It's not scary. It's much more of a goofy comedy than a horror movie. But I think it's fun, and I think it's interesting for a lot of reasons, including, of course, the fact that it's kind of based around some of these historical events. And some of you, if you follow the news, you might have seen there's been a lot of heavily publicized unrest in Cuba recently. And I just want to note that the reason I chose this movie for this month is because it's beachy and tropical, and I thought it would be a good summer movie. The same reason we showed Night Tide last summer. It's not because I knew what was going to happen. I didn't get some State Department memo saying, hey, we need to gin up support for a coup in Cuba, so we need you to show a Cuba movie so we can manufacture consent. It's a purely accidentally, coincidentally topical. And it is a silly monster movie. It's not a documentary. It's not, it's not done in what you would call good taste, per se. But I also think it's not maybe the worst place to get your perspective on Cuban-American relations. But you can judge for yourself in that regard. Another thing that makes this movie interesting... Okay, well, I can't prove to you that I'm not CIA, so you're just going to have to believe whatever you want to believe about that. But another thing that makes this movie interesting is that, like a lot of early Roger Corman productions, some of the people who were involved in it went on to become very famous. For example, the star of this film, Robert Towne, credited as Edward Wayne, I believe, on this movie. He didn't use his real name. He plays the character Sparks, aka XK150. None of those words make sense to you right now, but they will when you've seen the film. And he later became very famous, not as an actor, but as a screenwriter. He wrote a lot of movies, including Chinatown, which some people say is the greatest screenplay ever written. And it might seem kind of wild to have this screenwriter appearing in front of the camera, but it's not as uncommon as you would think. There's actually a lot of screenwriters who have appeared or performed somehow in movies that they worked on, and I want to go through a few of them at the top of the show right now. For example, you might be familiar with the movie Network, right? I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore, right? That was written by Paddy Chayefsky, very renowned writer. What you might not know is that Paddy Chayefsky actually put in a vocal performance in the 1980 movie The Hospital. He did the opening narration because the producers couldn't find anyone else that they liked for that part. But Paddy Chayefsky insisted that he not be credited for that performance in the credits under his own name. He insisted that they credit him as not Paddy Chayefsky because he's a very humble guy. Another example of this is Charlie Kaufman, one of my favorites. He did Adaptation and Being John Malkovich, Eternal Sunshine. I'm thinking of Ending Things for all you Netflix kids out there. One thing that a lot of people don't know is that Charlie Kaufman was actually in a long-running performance art project in which he portrayed a very happy painter. Very different persona from what you would expect from his screenplays, but he's a very versatile guy in that way. Diablo Cody, another very famous screenwriter. She came into renown when she put out her film Juno, and then she sort of fell out of favor with the horror movie Jennifer's Body, although that movie has gotten some reappraisal in recent years. But what you might not know is that she was actually the star of one of the most successful video game franchises in history. And you don't know that's her because she just left her last name off. Sometimes that's all you have to do to just avoid being identified. She was also in the 90210 reboot. It's cool. And finally, you all might have heard of a little movie called Citizen Kane, right? Little independent production, Citizen Kane. Well, Citizen Kane was written by this guy, Herman Mankiewicz. David Fincher made a whole movie about it called Mank. And in Mank, Herman Mankiewicz, not many people know this, played himself. That's actually Herman Mankiewicz in old man makeup playing an actor playing himself. And he even used a really fake pseudonym in the credits to try to cover it up. He called himself Gary Old Man because he's old. You're not fooling us, Mank. So, just a few examples, and I hope this helps you to appreciate all of these screenwriters as people who have a lot of different talents, because writing is boring and pretty much anyone can do it. So, that's our educational bit for the top of the show. We are just about to get the movie started. I'll tell you, as always, me and my co-producers, Andrei Alupului, George Gordon, and Marybess Pritchett, have added some stuff into the film tonight. Not that much. Most of what you'll see will just be the original movie, but here and there are some little Easter eggs that we added in. So keep an eye out or an ear for those. I'll be back on in about 15 minutes, but for now, please enjoy Act 1 of Creature from the Haunted Sea.
I had to go to the Santo Domingo bar, and I had to find Agent XK-120, whom I'd never met. I looked around the room. Long training and my own instinct told me that the girl sitting at the table seemed the most likely prospect.
Long live the king.
Is that supposed to be a political remark?
I don't know anything about politics. Do you play?
I never work if I can help it.
I meant chess. It's a very interesting game.
So is this one we're playing. Would you like a drink?
I wouldn't mind.
Waiter, bring us a bottle of Chateau Marmont, 1907.
1911 was a better year.
1911 it is.
We don't have any Chateau Marmont, but we have a good Chateaubriand, 1922.
Forget it. Make it a couple of rum Collins, kilo 58.
You say?
I had to be sure it was you. XK-120?
Right. XK-150?
Right. Who's the waiter?
One of them. Thinks I'm on their side.
She was beautiful. I could have killed myself for wearing this stupid disguise. Now she would never know me as I really am. I'm leaving tonight. We'll keep in touch by radio. You have the code.
In point of fact.
Yes.
In point of fact.
Yes.
In point of fact, I've got my decoder ring.
Right. Pay no attention to me when I leave.
Right. Aren't you going to kiss me goodbye?
Right. The 20th century occurred in Havana, Cuba. The revolutionary victors marched in, and the national complexion changed completely. They had been liberated. The survivors of the old regime escaped as best they could, taking with them only a few meager effects, such as the Cuban treasury and other art objects. It wasn't always easy to smuggle the loot out of Cuba, and so secret meetings were being held all over the island. This story of robbery, double cross, and murder begins with just such a meeting.
Are you Renzo Capetto?
I am. Who are you?
Never mind who I am. It's the mission that counts.
Let's get on with it.
As an American gambler and gangster, you're above suspicion. Of course, you know that our government has been overthrown.
You know, I heard that. Shut up.
But not for long. We'll be back. And if you think you're seeing executions now, oh boy.
Bravo.
Bravissimo.
But of course, in order to finance our great counter-revolution, it has been necessary for us to steal the Cuban treasure.
Hurrah.
Shut up. Let us proceed. You're going to lose your casino, so you'll be leaving Cuba anyway. You have a big yacht, and you can leave anytime you wish, such as immediately. Therefore, I'm going to entrust you a solemn trust. Here we have 1/4 of the Cuban treasure. Your group, General Tostada, Coronel Cabeza Grande, and a squad of men will proceed to Ciudad Trujillo. There you'll wait for us to contact you and relieve you of the money, 1/5 of which will be paid to you. Do you understand?
I get the whole picture.
Now you do the rest. Señores? General Tostada, Coronel Cabeza Grande, Señor Renzo Capetto y...
My name's Happy Jack Monahan. Glad to meet you, Jen.
Mis buenos amigos americanos, nos cabe el honor de preservar el honor del honor cubano. En un solemne acto de confianza han confiado en nuestras confiables manos ese botín con el cual reconstruiremos todo lo que Castro piensa construir. Yo saludo.
And now, the gold. You two had better get into the car.
The general doesn't know any English, Señor Capetto. I'll be his translator for you. Bueno?
Bueno.
Bueno. Métanse al auto.
Now it's time to go. Adios.
Adios.
I'll see you later, huh?
The first move in the great conspiracy had been made. The Cuban treasury was now in the gentle hands of Renzo Capetto, the most trustworthy man ever to be deported from Sicily. They thought they were smart. But little did they know that I, Sparks Moran, was an American agent. Luckily, I had been able to work my way into the crew by posing as a notorious gum machine burglar from Chicago. My real name is XK150. Hey, you. Come on down here and help with this.
How'd it go, Booksy?
We had a hairy little chase, but we got the stuff.
Crazy.
Hey, Colonel Grande, you can bring your men aboard.
What happens with all that mob?
I don't know. I thought we'd just have an officer or two, but it looks like we're going to have a little difficulty.
You think of a way to remove them and grab that loot? 'Cause you're my big, strong, swinging brain.
You're sweet, baby.
Hi, sis. Hi, baby doll. Did they scare you?
Just a little.
Oh.
All right, boys. Get ready to go. Pete, take the wheel. Jack, you and Sparks, get ready to cast off.
Well, this is a beautiful night for sailing.
And so we left Cuba forever, sailing the most astounding adventure to be inflicted upon man.
Sorry about the technical issues there. Clearly, Shudder is not reacting well to my criticism of them. They're choking our signal, but that's all right. We're going to persevere, and I think it will improve from this point. Anyway, if you've been watching the show for a while, I got cocky talking about like, oh, the image quality was so good. This had to happen. But if you've been watching this show for a while, you know we love us some mustaches. The faker, the better. And this movie has a world-class fake mustache in the form of this thing, which is applied to the face of our star, Robert Towne. And on the topic of mustaches, we decided, you know what, let's find out who currently has the record for world's longest mustache. We looked it up. It's an Indian man named Ram Singh Chauhan, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And his mustache is supposedly 14 feet long. It's pretty impressive. But there's actually another guy, Malcolm Mac Bradley, who is coming up on that record now and might be about to seize the title. And we were able to book Mr. Bradley to appear live on this show and talk with us. It's very exciting. So he's going to be coming to us live from an undisclosed location. I'm going to bring him up via Zoom right now. So just give me a second to do that. Yes. Mac, hello, how are you?
Hello, Hoff. I'm doing just fine, thank you. Is this line secure?
Yeah, it's just you and me and the HorrorFest viewing audience. So yeah, it's pretty much just us.
Okay. Well, let's make this quick.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for appearing on the show. I don't know if you've been watching so far, but in this movie that we're screening, the hero uses a pretty great fake mustache to go undercover. But I think your totally real mustache is much more impressive. Can you tell us about your journey towards the Guinness World Record for longest mustache?
Yeah, of course I can, Hoff. Well, I've always wanted a mustache, so as soon as I started to grow one at age 13, I decided I'd never shave it. So I kept pruning and trimming, and then in 2010, when I saw the record holder awarded, I thought, I can outgrow him. And so it was then that I decided to isolate myself.
Oh, wow. So you've been on your own for like 11 years now.
Yes, that's right.
So, you know, the lockdowns and the isolation of the pandemic, those must have just been a cinch for you.
The what?
You know what? Don't worry about it. Tell us a little bit more about your decision to pursue this.
Oh, sure. Well, my partner and I picked up our lives and moved north. And we've been here ever since. You know, we get what we need from our garden, the animals that old Mother Nature provides, and of course our trusty retriever, Tom Selleck. Couldn't ask for a better guard dog. Isn't that right, Tom? Yeah, who's a good guard dog? Oh, you're a good guard dog, aren't you?
I'm sure he is. Why is it that you need a guard dog? Like, well, why do you need to be away from other people?
Well, Hoff, breaking world records, that's a dangerous business. You choose a life of constant scrutiny, surveillance. I realized pretty quickly that safety had to be my top priority. It's been a hard road for Mark and me.
Mark is your partner?
No, my mustache, Mark. When you have an extremely long mustache like mine, there's some things you just can't do. Well, riding in cars is risky for one. I once closed Mark in the car door and dragged him for nearly 2 miles before I got Paolo's attention.
Paolo is your partner?
No, Paolo, my stylist. You see, basically, being near anything that has an engine is very dangerous. Boats, planes, motorcycles, and everyday tasks are very challenging. I spend nearly 4 hours a day on grooming alone. Mark requires 5 different blades, 3 separate trimmers. Don't get me started on eating soup. Yeah, eating certain meals is tough, and cooking can be even tougher. I learned a hard lesson a few years back that a gas stove is not your friend. No. Electric is the only way to go when you have a highly flammable face. What was that?
Oh, I didn't hear anything. Mac, are you okay?
Yeah. I tell you, Hoff, there are a lot of people who don't want this record broken. I've had threats on my life, on Tom's life. I've had to stop opening my mail. Someone tried to mail me lice. Can you believe it?
I can't. I mean, I had no idea that trying to break world records could be so treacherous. It seems like you've given up so much for this. I don't know if I could do that, to be frank.
Oh, so you do know each other.
I'm sorry?
My partner, Frank. What is it, boy? Selleck, what's wrong? And oh my God, they're here! They've come for us! Frank! No, Tom Selleck! No!
Matt?
Hoff, shave yourself!
Oh my God, Mac! Oh. Malcolm Mac Bradley, everyone. So good to have him on the show. They left him a little bit, at least. At least that's something. Well, we're just about to get back to the film, but there is one other mustache-related thing that I want to note before we do, and it's that we actually put together a mustache-based game that you all can play, which we're going to put out as bonus content on our email list. So if you haven't already, sign up at hoffshorrorfest@gmail.com, or I actually have a Google form you can fill out, which I'm going to put in the chat right now. And we just send out infrequent updates letting you know details about future shows. And in this case, we're going to be sending out this game, which is called Name That Lip. Some of you might remember we did a game a while ago called Name That Mustache, where we took like close-up pictures of celebrity mustaches and then tried to see if you guys could identify who they were. This is like that, except we took pictures of celebrities who usually do not have mustaches and photoshopped mustaches on to see if you could still identify them. I'm going to give you an example right now. Anybody in the chat know who that is? The mustache is fake. We added the mustache. Can you tell who it is underneath? I'll give you a moment to think about this. I'm on a little bit of a delay from the chat, so apologies if somebody's cracked it already. I see some enthusiasm. Let's go. Any thoughts? I'll give you a hint. The mustache is from Sam Elliott. It's a Sam Elliott mustache. But who is it underneath? Let's see. I'm seeing Tim Conway is not Tim Conway. It's a good guess. I honestly had no idea whether this would be hard for people or not. I didn't know how this would go. It seems like you guys are finding it a challenge. I'll go ahead and tell you, this is actually... Oh, Bolsonaro that's the very good guess, but no, it's not Bolsonaro. Bill Murray, no, this is Bill Gates. That's Bill Gates with a Sam Elliott mustache. You know, I gotta assume that his mustache comes in patchy because this is a much better look for him, right? Like, you gotta assume that he would be doing this if it were an option. But, so anyway, we have a bunch of other examples in that vein, which we'll be sending out on the email list if you want to play Name That Lip on your own at home. So again, make sure to sign up, hoffshorrorfest@gmail.com, go through the Google form in the chat, and you'll have some fun naming that lip. And now let's see some more of the film.
And what a group we were. The big cheese was Renzo Capetto, alias Capo Rosetto, alias Rado Pizzetti, alias Zeppo Staccato, alias Shirley Lamour. At 15, he served his first stretch for rolling a drunk in the lobby of the Waldorf Astoria on New Year's Eve, 1934. In 1940, he was involved in an unsuccessful attempt to nominate Benito Mussolini for the Republican ticket. During the war, he was rejected by the Navy, Marines, and the SS. Now deported, he has retained his contacts with the syndicate and is still regarded as a dangerous character. Mary Belle Monahan, alias Mary Monahan Bell, alias Belle Mary Monahan, alias Monahan Mary Bell. They say she was a gun moll just because Lucky Luciano gave her a Rolls Royce every Christmas. And they can't really prove that she sneaked into the Hollywood Bowl with a Tommy gun and rubbed out the convention of police chiefs in 1956. Oh, I know that she got nailed cold when she was pushing heroin in a laundry room in Boys Town. But I'm willing to give anyone the benefit of the doubt, especially when she's as crazy looking as Mary Bell. This is Happy Jack Monahan, so called because he developed a muscle spasm in his cheeks from watching too many Humphrey Bogart pictures. Happy Jack's record is brief, his only crimes having been committed after his sister, Mary Bell, talked Renzo into giving him a job. Up until that time, Happy Jack had been a tennis bum, sleeping under the bleachers at Forest Hills and mooching nickels in the BMT subway. Since taking up with Renzo, he has become a well-known dice loader and murderer. The most of the Dark Quartet is Pete Peterson, Jr., son of Pete Peterson, Sr., famed vaudeville bird mimic. Pete Jr. inherited his father's talent for animal imitations, but unfortunately blew his brain out of whack while imitating a whooping crane at the Elks Convention picnic in Oshkosh in 1942. Since then, anyone has been able to convince Pete of anything. Renzo found him struggling along as a pickpocket at Jones Beach and took him with him in his exile. Since then, he has been Renzo's faithful servant, shining his shoes and rubbing out his enemies. In return, Renzo permits him to imitate any animal that comes into his head. That, for instance, was the mating call of the Himalayan yak.
Then there was John Shaft, a black private dick and a sex machine to all the chicks. He was a complicated man, and no one understood him but his woman.
There they are, my shipmates. I didn't know where they were taking those unsuspecting Cubans, but I knew they were taking them. And so, with grim faces, we set our helm against the perilous future.
Okay, now before I begin, has anyone anything to say? Pete? How about you, Jack? What do you think we should do? Give up?
Oh, now, honey, is that any way for Marybell's big man to talk?
Now, look. We've got to get rid of at least half of these Cubans without making the rest of them suspicious. There used to be a Cuban fisherman by the name of Hemingway. He got hooked on a sea monster in these waters a couple of years ago, and he was dragged for miles. Got a lot of publicity. We're going to show these boys the greatest sea monster they ever saw in their lives. Jack, in my trunk, there's some garden rakes used for weeding tomatoes. You get them and sharpen them like scalpers. Pete, you mix up a mess of olive oil and green ink and snag some seaweed from over the side. Now, Jack, what are you going to do? Sharpen up the garden rakes? Good boy. Pete, how about you? Does he have to do that? All right, Jack, beat it.
We've had a good life together, haven't we, baby?
You know it, Boops. Winters in Tijuana, summers in Cicero. Remember that wonderful trip we took to Monte Carlo?
You mean at the time we heisted all those $100 chips? Sure. I'll admit, I couldn't really hear anything through that door, but I was sure they were up to no good. I knew it was up to me to stop them.
Now we're off again to parts unknown.
It's like a second honeymoon.
You know something? We ought to get married.
Now don't be a drag, baby.
How much Jack do you think's in that strong arm?
There's plenty of Cuban sugar, though.
What are we going to do with all of it?
I don't know. I always wanted to open up a home for the aged hoodlums.
Baby, you got a heart as big as all outdoors.
A government agent lives in constant peril. I devised my undetectable radio set using simulated hot dogs for knobs and tubes inside of dill pickles while watching a number of sewer workmen during lunch hour. It comes in mighty handy, believe you me. One little slip and I could be headed for Davy Jones' locker. Hello, Havana. This is Agent XK-150. Over. I'm making my first official report. So far, not too much has happened, but I'm anticipating. Renzo Capetto and his gang are on board as suspected. I am with them. I will call you again soon, one of these days. This is Agent XK-150 signing off.
Hey, what's happening?
Just having a bite.
Gee, that looks good. Do you mind if I join you?
Come to Mama. Great.
Good morning, encantadora y hermosa criatura.
The general says, "Good morning, you gorgeous, beautiful creature."
Would you ask the general to remove himself from my presence?
Ella dice que muy buenos días para usted, mi general.
Usted para mí es como una flor del mar, como un ángel de Neptuno sonriéndole al mundo.
The general says you are a golden angel flower singing.
Would you tell the general that I feel that he'd be most at home, barbecuing slowly over a hot spit?
Ella dice que mi general es un hombre muy digno y de gran empuje.
You must be a glutton for punishment.
Oh, now, what do you want?
You're too good for this life. You're young and you're innocent. You should get out. Only getting you good.
Are you unwell? The getting is great.
You're a victim of circumstance.
I try. I do try.
You're a crazy, mixed-up kid.
I am perfectly adjusted to my life of crime. Now, what is your story?
Oh, well, you see, I'm beyond help. But you're not. You can find a clean young man to marry, and...
I haven't got the time.
But I can help you, Mary Bell.
You can turn blue.
Don't worry, Mary Bell. I'll save you a dime.
That's a comforting alternative.
A secret agent should never sleep. But there I was, dreaming of Mom's apple pie, while up on deck, Renzo and his cutthroats were taking the first step, killing an innocent Cuban, and pretending some imaginary monster did it just so they would be panicked into changing course, so that Renzo could steer them to his own picked destination.
Wait 1 minute, then give the alarm.
But what none of us knew was that the monster invented by Renzo had already been invented by somebody else. By a couple of other monsters, I guess.
Soldados cubanos, algo horrible ha sucedido aquí anoche. 2 de vuestros compañeros han sido cobardemente asesinados. Debemos encontrar al que cometió este cobarde asesinato para que esto no vuelva a suceder.
What did he say?
The general says what happened.
Well, I have an idea, if you'd like to hear it.
Please go ahead.
Well, I don't think it was anything human that killed your soldiers. Seen the tracks and the claw wounds on their bodies. Now, in my studied opinion, those soldiers were attacked by some weird creature from the sea. Came in, did your boys in, and vanished again. What's so funny? That creature, how silly. Did you really think it?
¿Cuál es la gracia?
Este estúpido gringo cree que Alejandro lo mató un monstruo que salió del...
¡Silencio! Este estúpido gringo tiene razón. Yo creo que esto solo ha sido hecho por un anfibio desconocido de aguas desconocidas.
Yours, Colonel.
Well, the general says, you're right, it is a monster.
Estas aguas son muy peligrosas. Debemos trazar una nueva ruta.
The general says these waters are very dangerous, so we must plot a new course. Media vuelta a la derecha. Ya. De frente, marcha.
Catch that? Our brave General Tostaro didn't miss an excuse to blow the trip and change course.
Do you think he's got a glint in his eye?
Pure gold. Maybe he won't have to knock them all off.
Oh.
You boys are getting careless. I told you to kill 1, not 2. What's the matter? Can't you count? Okay, Pete. Now, take the wheel.
Gee, I thought it was only 1.
Well, I can't figure this out. So we were going somewhere I didn't know. Washington didn't know. Renzo didn't know. We all had to find out. Now, gentlemen, I think we ought to make our decision.
Skull.
Thank you, Pete. Now, has anybody got an idea? About what? About where we're going.
I thought it was to Ciudad Trujillo we were going.
Oh, no. That's been changed.
Well, General Tostado thinks we ought to change course in order to escape the monster.
¿Por fin dónde vamos, General?
Caracas, Venezuela. No. I think we ought to go to...
Let's go to India. I've always wanted to see a second car.
Actually, I think we ought to go to Cannes. It really swings this time of the year.
Yeah, will you listen?
So strange, my friends. I always had a secret desire. I always wanted to go to Bali, you know.
Bali?
Bali? Bali?
We are not going to Bali.
Caracas, Venezuela.
No. Please tell the General that I am convinced we ought to go to San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Él dice que está convencido, el único sitio puede ir es a San Juan de Puerto Rico.
This is Agent XK150 calling Agent XK120 via 190SL. Come in, Havana.
Now, the first thing we've got to think about is to escape this finky monster. Now, if you take a look at the chart, you'll notice there's a lot of deep water just north of Puerto Rico. Too deep for the monster to live in.
Well, how do you know he can't live in deep water?
Because of his feet. He's a walker, and he's got to stay at the bottom. All right, stupid?
Right, stupid.
Now, when we get to Puerto Rico, we'll take the strong box ashore. Now, as an American, I won't be noticed. I'll take a plane up to Ciudad Trujillo. Take the box with me.
I can say unequivocally, without the slightest qualm of doubt, that this gang is heading for Bali. I think the government should watch for us at the Panama Canal. Over.
Que no perderé de vista esa caja.
The General says it's all right. We may go to Puerto Rico. But he wants to keep the strong box out of his sight.
Okay, it's a deal.
All right. So in the previous break, we talked about mustaches. And this time around, I'd like to talk about another, I guess, fashion choice, you might say. The stuff worn by our gangster leader, Renzo Capetto. As you can see, he's got a long sleeve button-down shirt, unbuttoned almost all the way down and tucked into his pants. This is a look that's known as the Deep V. Some people might consider it kind of obnoxious. Up until I watched this movie, I wasn't really aware that it existed outside of modern-day Williamsburg. But as you can see, it's got a rich cultural heritage. And we did some research. We actually found a commercial for a company that makes exclusively Deep V shirts. I want to play that for you right now.
Hi there, I'm Victor Viscusi, president of Deep V Shirts. The Viscusi family have been making shirts for almost 50 years. Our mission was to create a shirt that gave you the feeling of being shirtless while giving you a look that would not get you kicked out of bars or restaurants for not having a shirt. I like to take a hands-on approach with the business, so I like to answer all the letters that come from our fans and our critics. For example, Dan Wilbur wrote to us and said, "Any shirt can be a Deep V shirt. You just don't button any of the buttons except the bottom two buttons." Well, Mr. Wilbur, I don't know that that's exactly true. You see, here at Deep V, we create shirts that are designed specifically to be worn strictly in Deep V. Other shirts aren't meant to be worn like that. At Deep V Shirts, we like to invoke a more sophisticated look, a look that cannot be replicated. Think Anthony Carbone in Creature from the Haunted Sea. Elegant, complex, macho, but still retaining a sense of vulnerability. At Deep V, we want to make our customers look good and feel good at the same time. And you don't have to be a president to want to look good and feel good at the same time.
There you go. Maybe the look of the summer. I don't know. Sound off in the chat and let us know how you feel about the Deep V. I might stick with this for the rest of the show. It's more comfortable in this temperature than how I was before. And let's just watch some more of the film for now.
What do you think of it, Sparks? Looks like a Portuguese fishing vessel to me. Good guess. But you're wrong. The Cuban Coast Guard. It looks like they're coming this way. Maybe they're looking for the gold. Hey, Pete. Tell Tostada and his men to stay below. Sparks, see if you can catch a fish. Everybody keep your guns handy. I don't have any guns. Marybelle, give him one of your guns.
Ow!
Give him one of your guns, Marybelle. Now, let's appear casual. Marybelle, sing a song. We're Americans on a pleasure trip out here. I don't think you've got any authority to search this ship. I think this gives us the authority to search this boat. Well, as you see, there's nothing on board. I haven't seen anything. I'm going to take a look down below. He didn't sound like a Cuban to me. I figured in this situation I'd better stick with Renzo, so I decided to knock out the leader of the Cubans with a fish I had on the end of my line. Sparks! Good work, Pete. Listen, we better check the boat and see if there are any others.
Okay.
Marybelle, you can stop singing now. You have this terrific voice.
Oh, if I could only push you overboard.
Your talents are being allowed to molder away unknown to humanity. You could be a star. The toast of 3 continents, your name in lights. Let me take you away and deliver you.
I just can't believe that you're real.
She was madly in love with me, only she didn't know it yet.
I think I smell land. Are we almost there?
Oh, about 6 or 8 hours.
Another lucky shooter. Pause the point.
You're ravishing.
You're sick.
Listen, I have a plan. As soon as we get there, we'll wait for night. And when Renzo isn't looking, we'll jump off and swim for shore through shark-infested water so no one will follow us. Then we'll steal a sailing dinghy and head for Brazil. How do you like it?
I think it's grand. You ought to do it.
Well, I meant you too.
Honey, I wouldn't ride on the same bus with you.
Now, Pete, I want you to listen carefully. Now, on the north coast of the Big Island, there's a teeny speck of land called La Isla del Borracho, named after one of Columbus's lieutenants. It should be deserted by now. We ought to be able to land there, huh? Good. Now, there's a reef around the island and a very narrow opening which we have to go through. I am going to run this yacht on the rocks, right at the entrance. Now, during the panic, we'll take the strong box, load it on a skiff, and head for shore. Now, Pete, when we get over 30 feet of water, I'll give you a signal. And then I want you to capsize the boat. You understand? Later, Pete, we'll come back and dive for it. You understand everything?
Sure. We hit the rocks, and then we put the box in the skiff, and then we dump it over 30 feet of water so we can come back and get it. And that's because it's filled with nitroglycerin. It shouldn't be on board anyway.
Hello, Baracco.
Look at the reefs.
Reese, go ahead.
We're starting through. Very well, I won't leave you, I'll never leave you. We'll drown together.
You demented.
My lunchbox.
My, what a short memory.
It's all right, be calm, everybody. The boat's insured. Everything went according to plan. The Renzos and the monsters.
Row your boat gently up the creek. Merrily, 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 I'm going to be sick.
You know, this reminds me of one time on Lake Minnetonka. Louise Schmidt and I were paddling along when what do you think happened?
General says you have your orders as soon as he can estimate the situation. Well, you can tell El General. Tell him he's through giving orders around here. Now look, you men have no money and you have no guns and you're on U.S. soil. That's all right, I'm on your side. Pete, I want you to search the island, see if anybody lives here. Jack, you take one of the lifeboats and row to shore. Make your way to San Juan and rent us a fishing boat and plenty of diving gear. Come on, boy, let's go. Oh, Colonel, you see if you can get your men to build us a lean-to or something to keep the rain off. Atención! De frente, marche! ¡Alto! Ahora todos a trabajar. ¡Quiero! No tenemos tiempo que perder. Vamos, vamos. Is this great?
Could stay here forever.
That won't be necessary, baby.
Why?
Well, the way I figure it, these Cubans aren't very much at diving. But Jack, Pete, and I are all pretty good spear fishermen. We'll go down, find the strong box, and hide it in a hole in the reef. After that, we'll tell the Cubans that it's no use. Give up. It'll be safe there for months, even years, until we're ready to come back and get it. You like it?
Bubsy, sometimes you are so smart you make me sick.
Hello, operator. Get me Havana, Cuba, 652314. Cuba. 6, 5, 2, 3, 1, 4. Oh, listen, I don't have the right change, so would you mind charging that to my home phone, which is in Washington, D.C., in USA? It is 762-691. Estada Unida, Washington, 6, 6, duo, 6, 9, duo, whatever. Right, thanks a lot. That service is terrific. Hello, Santo Domingo Bar. Is there a girl there playing chess? You're right, I want to talk to her. Hello. I'll give you all my utilities and all my railroads for Park Place.
Not a chance. Go directly to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect your $200.
XK-120?
Right, XK-150?
Right. Listen, I can't really talk now. I don't know exactly what's happening or where I am. But I have the feeling that this case is about to bust wide open. I can't talk now. Someone's waiting to use the phone, but I'll keep in touch. Did you get that?
Repeat the last part of that message.
I'll keep in touch. Did you get that?
Right. Which way do I turn this Dakota pin?
Left.
Left?
Right.
Right.
At the beginning of the show, I mentioned that one of the things, or maybe the main thing that makes this movie interesting, is the fact that it plays off of the Cuban Revolution of 1959, when the communists took power in Cuba. And it's kind of strange, right? It's sort of heady subject matter for a low-budget monster movie. Sort of odd that they chose to build their B-movie around this, which was a relatively recent event when the film was made. And it's even stranger when you think about the fact that if you watch this movie backwards, it's about a group of Americans and Cuban exiles trying to sneak into Cuba, which is basically what happened in, as people were talking about in the chat, the CIA's failed invasion at the Bay of Pigs in April of 1961, which was 1 month before this movie came out, but after the film had been produced. And if you think about it even more, it's called the Bay of Pigs, and pigs are a type of creature, right? So it's almost as though this film was anticipating this event, which would come to be one of the biggest scandals of the JFK administration. So how would that have been the case? How would they have known that this was going to happen? Well, during the Cold War, the CIA set up a front operation called the Congress for Cultural Freedom. The idea was to help the United States by secretly funding or distributing anti-communist art and culture. Now, I can't prove that Roger Corman's production company, American International Pictures, was affiliated with the Congress for Cultural Freedom, but I think there is a lot of evidence right there in the name, right? American International Pictures. Pictures designed to promote American interests on the international stage, right? I mean, they practically come right out and say it. And Creature from the Haunted Sea was seemingly a particularly important film to Roger Corman personally. This is true. He was originally going to act in it in the role of Happy Jack, which he ultimately decided it was too challenging of a character, which is sort of funny in its own way. But Happy Jack, as far as I know, might have been named after President Jack Kennedy, who made many Americans feel optimistic and hopeful, or happy, right? Which brings us to the Kennedy assassination. And this is where the connections start to get really freaky. And as you might know, a lot of conspiracy theorists believe that Kennedy was actually assassinated by the deep state, basically in retaliation for his refusal to commit full support to the Bay of Pigs invasion. The only existing footage of the assassination is the famous Zapruder film, shot by bystander Abe Zapruder. And my co-producers talked me out of showing the Zapruder film in full on the show tonight, but what's important, what a lot of people don't know, is that Abe Zapruder was actually under contract at the time with American International Pictures. He was in Dallas, on November 22nd, 1963, to shoot some B-roll for his unfinished teen movie, Rock and Roll Dallas Parade Marshals A Go-Go. And the Zapruder film also contains imagery of the figure known to conspiracy theorists as Umbrella Man, this guy who was standing on the parade route on this sunny day in Dallas holding a black umbrella. Very strange thing to do, right? I want you to look a little closer at that image, and I'll show you a zoom in on it right now. Does Umbrella Man here look perhaps a little bit familiar? I would posit that Umbrella Man was actually the same mysterious figure that visited Jack Ruby, the assassin of Lee Harvey Oswald, in jail after his arrest, and is identified in the jail records only as XK-150. So, Just as The Shining was Stanley Kubrick's coded confession for helping to fake the moon landing, we all know this, was Creature from the Haunted Sea Roger Corman's admission of complicity in American Cold War imperialism? Well, a lot of what I've just told you was made up, but you have to admit it sounds pretty convincing. So, just something to think about. I had to button my shirt back up because it was too much of an Alex Jones vibe if I didn't. But I just wanted to highlight some of those connections, and let's watch some more of the film.
Pete, aren't you going to introduce me to the lady?
Isn't she beautiful, Renzo?
Very lovely. Where did you meet? Oh, no.
That must mean they're in love.
I wish you many happy returns of the day.
Oh, isn't that a ring you're wearing, Miss Forcina Perez?
It's a wedding ring.
Aloha. Get the equipment? Oh, about 20 bottles, 10 regulars, masks, spear guns, the works.
Overdid it as usual. Well, okay, we're going to start diving this afternoon.
I brought something else home with me, too.
No pongan todo eso ahí otra vez. Vamos a muy...
Carmelita, I'd like you to meet Renzo Capetta, my sister Marybelle, Mr. Pete Peterson, and, well, I don't know who the large woman with him is.
Forcina Perez.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
You found this woman in San Juan?
Well, she was living in a sort of sorority house down by the docks. She's awful friendly.
Why don't you come on with me, honey? I'll show you our sorority house.
Senor Capetto, I have the honor to report that my men will be ready 1 hour.
Ready for what?
Dive to the strandbox.
You mean your men are divers?
Yes, they are Cuban Army frogmen.
Ole.
I had the situation well in hand. Marybelle was weakening, as I'm sure you've noticed. Then she came into my life. I didn't see her coming, but somehow I sensed her presence and knew that my life was changed forever.
Hello. Who are you?
Carmelita Rodriguez.
Sparks Moran. As a trained espionage agent, I could tell that she was attracted to me. But I wanted Marybelle, and Marybelle wanted Renzo, and Renzo wanted the gold.
Hey! Spark! Idiot! Let's keep this thing firm.
You all right?
Oh, yes.
All right, we're ready. Where's the Cuban army?
I don't know, but I'm ready.
Vamos, soldados cubanos, a sumergirnos. A sumergirnos.
The search for the strongbox had begun, but the sea was cluttered up with Cubans, dispersed by General Tostada to search independently. All those Cubans alone in the deep. This was a chance for Renzo to again become the sea monster. A lonely Cuban had found one of the many wrecks on the bottom. And Renzo had found the lonely Cuban. Their attack was cleanly executed. The victim was dead. The killers delighted, but not satisfied. Renzo must have another quart of Latin blood. We waited, sensing the dangers below, while the unholy three sought new prey. It didn't take them long to find it.
What happened to them? What's this, Sarge?
No, it was a monster.
What do you mean a monster?
A real, live, honest-to-goodness monster with claws and everything.
Oh, you're nuts. Hold this way.
Carmelita, it's too dangerous for you here. Let's run away and live a little.
No, I'm in love with Sparks.
Sparks Moran?
Let's see.
Well, how can you be in love with him? He's an idiot. You ought to be in love with me.
No, I'm in love with him. And I don't care if he'll never see you again.
Oh, if I'd only paid my life insurance premium, I'd kill myself.
Oh, no. Don't kid yourself.
Well, why not?
No, you come with me. I'll show you. Come with me to the jungle.
You seen one jungle, you've seen them all.
You come with me, you see and you like.
Hello, Carl.
Senor, I'm very much afraid of this monster.
Well, let's just pick up and go home.
No, I am an officer. We will not stop until we have this strongbox. From now on, we'll dive with spear guns.
Crazy.
Senor Happy Check, this girl is my daughter. Her name is Mango.
Mango?
Óyeme, la novia lo dejó ahora por un idiota y el pobrecito, tú sabes, quería matar. Pero yo le dije que no lo hiciera, que él necesitaba una persona que lo alegrara. I was telling her what that no good of Carmelita do to you. I was telling her to cheer you up.
Oh, gee, thanks, Porcina. But it really wasn't necessary.
You not like Mango?
Oh, yeah, I like it.
Siento mucho lo que le ha pasado, señor. Es algo que le pasa a todo el mundo con mucha frecuencia. Es lo mejor.
She no speak good English, señor.
Well, I don't think that's going to matter at all.
Okay, I'm going back now. Mr. Peterson Jr. He is waiting for me now.
Well, adios, Porcina.
Adios.
Vas a ir con la tuya, ¿verdad?
¡Suéltame, perro sapo! ¡Suéltame! ¡Quita tu mano sucia arriba de mí, perro!
Are you all right, Porcina?
Oh, I'm all right, my hero.
Hey, where's Happy Jack?
Oh, come on. I'll take you to them.
Them?
Yes.
Tú eres muy dulce, aunque un poco estúpido.
Oh, I don't know what you said, Mango. But it sure was wonderful.
Mi madre quiere que yo sea agradable con los extranjeros. Es como una especie de bienvenida para los turistas.
I feel the same way, Mango. Well, I never felt like this in my whole life before.
A ella le gusta que yo los entusiasme para poder venderles sombreros de palma de coco y sandalias.
Oh, I know, Mango. I know. Well, here come Pete and Porcina.
Se parecen a los premios más baratos en una galería de tiro.
Hi, Jack. Who's your friend?
Well, this is Mango Perez, Porcina's daughter.
Gee, she's almost as pretty as her mother.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
Yeah, but can't she do imitation?
Well, I don't know. And I don't care, because I love her.
Gosh, you're gonna marry her?
Yeah, well, why not?
Why not? If you marry Mango, and I marry Porcino, I'll be your father. Woo! What kind of a voice call is that?
Oh, we cannot talk here. We cannot talk. My Mushugan talk. He made big trouble.
Yeah, I just had a fight with him.
You know, Pete, I'm getting tired of all this running around. You know what I'd like to do? I'd like to marry Mango and settle down here. Well, I could start a tennis club.
They don't have clubs. They have rackets.
You know, you're right.
But you know something, though? I'd like to do the same thing myself. Say, why don't we rub them all out? And this way, we can keep the strong box for ourselves.
Oh, yes. Well, even Marybelle?
Oh, gee, I don't know about her.
Well, she is my sister. Of course, we could keep her around to do the housekeeping.
Sure.
And she'll get over losing Renzo.
Sure.
Well, how about it? Is it a deal?
Sure. Besides, they've been cheating on their income tax anyway.
Ay, ya yo me estoy cansando de esta jeringonza. Vamos a nadar, ¿quieren?
Mango, she won't go swimming.
They don't have clubs, they have rackets. Well, it's getting close to the end of the film here, and if you've been watching the show for a while, you know what that means. It is time for the horror host highlight reel. And, I mean, I think most of you know what the deal is, but basically, all the movies we show are on the older side. They've all been around for a while. They've all been in the public domain for a while, so a lot of people have hosted screenings of them before we came along. On late night television or the internet or Shudder or wherever. So rather than pretending we're doing some unique thing here, which has never been done before, we like to pay tribute to the tradition we're a part of by putting together a montage of other horror hosts hosting the film of the night. So, without further ado, here it is, your horror host highlight reel for Creature from the Haunted Sea.
We here at Horror Incorporated are indeed going to be making a trek out to the beach.
I've been invited by a very good friend to a party at the Black Lagoon, but that shouldn't stop me from bringing to you our usual monthly episode. Tonight's feature film is actually the Creature from the Haunted Sea.
In the grand tradition of the Little Shop of Horrors, it's the 1961 low-budget quickie, Creature from the Haunted Sea.
Yeah! So we're watching Roger Corman's Creature from the Haunted Sea.
The Creature from the Haunted Sea.
Roger Corman's classic 1961 Creature from the Haunted Sea.
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 The Creature from the Haunted Sea.
The Creature from the Haunted Sea.
Creature from the Haunted Sea.
Creature from the Haunted Sea.
The Creature from the Haunted Sea.
It came from the lady. No, cursed haunted. There's cursed and sea.
The Creature from Haunted Lake.
The Creature from the Haunted Sea, directed by Roger Corman. Unfortunately, this film is not his best work.
I do not find this monster believable on this film.
No, he looks like he's wearing a big shaggy carpet and ping pong ball eyes. We wouldn't have made something like that.
Oh, Devil Egg Eyes.
Cookie Monster wants love.
What, did he get killed by Cookie Monster?
Cookie Monster is a more believable monster than this.
Cookie Monster from the Haunted Sea. C is for cookie. I should probably watch what I say, though. I'm pretty sure this thing is one of Gritty's cousins.
Welcome to Classic, where we revisit movies and television shows from a bygone era, and we're going to discuss them with some of the finest minds in the Brooklyn Diocese. I'm here today with Father Jamie Gigantiello.
It was a little bizarre, especially the monster. I mean, they could have done a better job. I know it was 1961, but I think they could have done a little better job with that monster.
If I may, sir, it is that very air of silliness on the part of everyone involved, and the wild spoofing of a number of cliched movie conventions that make Creature from the Haunted Sea overcome its many considerable shortcomings to make it a fairly entertaining motion picture experience in spite of itself.
This movie's plot was getting tense. Marybell's song, it made no sense. No one stared or cared except the creature from the haunted sea.
There you go. And now, the thrilling conclusion of Creature from the Haunted Sea.
Where's Pete and the boys? They know we should be diving this afternoon. I think they're somewhere in the jungle. Señor, usted me está proponiendo una cosa sucia. Le exijo una satisfacción. What's this? What is this?
This man's life is playing around with Mr. Pete. He's very angry.
That's tough. Mire, lo único que puedo hacer es venderla. Yo creo que $50 y una caja de caldilla está en orden.
This man wants to sell you his wife for $50 and a case of rum.
Television, that's...
Dice que está loco.
Señor, no acepto esa clase de insulto a nadie. Ahora le exijo $100. Carmelita, will you talk to him? We're busy.
Oh, sure. I will tell him to cut down to 20 for a fifth of gin.
Gin nothing. Who wants to buy his improbable wife? Come on, General Tostado, let's get going. Soldados cubanos, de nuevo a sumergirnos. Una, dos y tres. Una, dos y tres. Una, dos, tres. All right, baby. Listen, you hold on to these, because I can't use them without Peter Jack to help me, huh?
I'll keep them warm for you.
Renzo Capetto had at last found the strongbow. And the unknown partner had found Renzo Capetto.
Why'd you have to do it, Renzo?
Why did I have to do what?
Don't play games with me. Why'd you kill her?
Jack, I swear I had nothing.
I said don't play games. We all saw her. The same 5 incisions in the ground marks on that stupid toilet plunger.
Why'd you ask Marybeth? I gave her the rakes before I went under.
That won't play. You had 2 more in your trunk, just in case, you said, remember?
Yeah, I remember, but they're still there. I can't convince them, honey. Maybe you can.
Sorry, honey. I'm afraid I'm going to have to go along with Jack.
You think I did it?
Well, what else can I think? You made that monster up out of thin air. Now, don't try to tell me it's real. I'm not that stupid.
Well, I am. I always believed in it.
But it's got to be real. Either that or the Cubans are trying to kill us off.
I can't buy that.
I don't care what you buy. From now on, we're going to die with spears like the rest of them. We've got to get rid of the rest of those Cubans as quickly as possible. Now, we'll start tomorrow morning with tostado. Jack? Pete?
Possible death notwithstanding, the courageous general and 2 of his men dove once more into the deadly sea. But, as usual, they were not alone. Renzo waited for them to separate. One pulled away, and then there were 2. Tostado went on alone into the forbidding void, with the killers closing in. The giant observer stood watching over a pathetic bit of cloth, all that remained of mango. At last, Tostada had found his gold in his own watery grave. The general died as all generals should. His greedy murderers let his body drift away while they congratulated each other. Happy Jack found the scrap of a dress and knew what had happened to his beloved. Suddenly.
Go ahead, try to talk yourself out of it. Try to talk yourself cool this time.
Baby.
Go ahead, tell me the Cubans did it. Only they were on board pulling into town. Now, who was down there with Jack?
No, baby, you gotta believe.
I don't ever have to look at you again. Oh, Ren. Ooh.
Marybelle, I saw what he did to you. They killed your brother. And now you've got to leave, Marybelle, and there's no one to help you but me. Oh, Marybelle, I love you so much I could split you.
Get on. What do you do to my man? Oh, shut up.
It was dusk. I could tell because the sun was going down.
Right, senor. All my army is finished. I knew when the general died. I don't care about the fox anymore. Let the monster. I don't want him to kill any more of my men. Neither do I, Colonel. I think we must go to Ciudad Trujillo in the morning. You can go anywhere you like. I'm going home. To America? America? No, I can't go back there anymore. Sicily. Oh. I've got an uncle there who's been after me for years to help him stamp grapes. It's beginning to appeal to me.
Marybelle hates me.
I know. But I love you.
Kind of nice having somebody love you.
Why don't you try to love me? You might like it.
I guess I can try. She pressed her hot Latin lips against mine, and I forgot everything but Carmelita. But our silent partner was not going to let me forget. This was it. There was but one thing a responsible, trusted representative of the United States government could do at a time like this. Get out of there.
There you go. I'd just like one more chance to explain. Please.
It's all right, Brooksy. Doesn't really matter. No matter where you go or what you do or whom you kill. I'll love you till the day I die.
but he was the skipper and decided to go down ahead of his ship.
I've never known a girl like you.
You want to spend your whole life in a monastery?
Carmelita, I love you, and I want to marry you and take you away from all this.
That I would like it, I think.
Of course, we'd have to live on the salary of an American spy, which is $41.50 a week.
I don't care. You're so strong, so intelligent. You see how you solve this whole case? You're the smartest torpedo in the whole world.
I'm not really as smart as I look, Carmelita. You see, I have to admit that all that time I thought Renzo and the Cubans were trying to steal that strong box. But I was wrong. The real killer was the monster.
So what? You're beautiful.
So I got the girl. And guess who got the gold?
There you go. Creature from the Haunted Sea. Hope you all enjoyed the film. If anybody out there was a fan of Malcolm in the Middle back in the day, now you know this is the movie from which they got that shot from the opening theme song where the monster comes up and grabs the woman. I didn't want to say anything about it in advance because I didn't want to spoil it, but that is kind of the main thing I associate this movie with. So, hope you enjoyed the film. Hope you enjoyed the show. Very sorry about the technical issues. I will be committing seppuku immediately after this show. And after I do that, I will work on figuring out the problem so that doesn't happen anymore on next month's show, which will be on August 25th. And yes, we are going to be screening Plan 9 from Outer Space. So this is a film that I've been holding back on for a while. I've known that it was available in the public domain the whole time we've been doing this show for over a year, but I haven't screened it because, you know, I do like to maintain kind of a positive vibe on this show in the sense of saying, you know, we do like these movies, we enjoy them, we want you to enjoy them in their own right, in addition to this supplementary stuff we're adding on. It's not like, oh, we're finding bad movies to make fun of, and some of you probably know this film has a reputation of, some people say it's the worst movie ever made. But I'm running out of public domain movies to pick, and I rewatched this recently, and, you know, good or bad, it's a very fun movie, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun watching it. So I hope you'll join us again on August 25th for that, and I hope you'll sign up for the email list if you haven't already. Go to hoffshorrorfest@gmail.com. I mean, you can't go to an email address, but if you email us at that address, we'll put you on the list. And yeah, I've been your host, Hoff Matthews. My co-producers on this show are Andrei Alupului, George Gordon, and Marybess Pritchett. We had Dan Hanf on as a guest performer, I should say, in the beginning as Malcolm Mac Bradley. And that's it. So thank you all for watching and sticking with us through this show. Again, hope you'll be back in August. And, you know, stay cool out there. And have a good night.